Well, good Monday morning to you. Welcome to our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. I'm your host, Jim Tabor, along with Doctors Jim and Janine Fox. They are, of course, the owners of Doctor's Nutrition, located on Callan Lorraine Road in Gulfport, just south of Pass Road. We do this every Monday morning. It is a live call-in show. And what we do is we usually will have a topic that we will pick and talk about that, invite you to call in and ask questions. But the first Monday of the month, which is today, we do a open line Monday, which basically call in and ask any questions that you have regarding any health conditions, because this is what the show's all about, trying to help you lead a healthier lifestyle in a more natural way.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
pumping yourself full of drugs and stuff like that.
There you go.
Some people think that they can do.
Yeah.
So anyway, our phone lines are open at 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. You can call and pass your question along to one of our producers in the studio, and they'll pass it along to us.
Correct.
So,
right.
Been a wonderful weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Kind
of interesting. We talk about omega-3s all the time. A little study just published, a few days ago.
Actually, a few days.
Kind of interesting about omega-3s. And they showed that if you take enough, and that's the key word, enough, that you can. It actually showed overall to help lower blood pressure, both systolic and diastolic. Very interesting. And probably because of some of the effects it has, the anti-inflammatory effects and et cetera, but it's really interesting. But they said the quantity was the key. Minimum of 3 grams, that's 3,000 milligrams, up to and 5. When they got up to around 5, it helped even more. So it takes a bunch. So for those of you who are taking 1 a day, probably not going to do much good.
Right.
I actually take 2 in the morning,
Yeah.
and then 1 at bedtime.
Okay.
Probably should up it a little
Probably
bit.
up just a hair.
Because when you start looking at the quantity, most of these researches, now they weren't as specific on this one as
Right.
we looked, but most research, when they talk about 3,000 milligrams, they're not talking about total fish oil. They're talking about what they call the fatty acids, which is the EPA and DHA, which is the active ingredient in fish oil. So it really depends on the strength of your fish oil as well, because there are some out there that you would have to take 12 a day to equal that 3,000 in EPA and DHA. And 3,000 was a minimum. They actually said 5,000 was even better. So that was kind of what the study was showing, was it does make a difference on the amount. So most of the fish oil over the counter.
So I haven't taken mine this morning. How much is in that one?
Actually, in the ones
The
that
omega-3.
we have different strengths of omega-3, but on that one is for 2. It is 900 EPA and 660 DHA. So that is going to give you 1540. That's going to give you 1540 for 2.
Okay.
So those are about 3 times stronger than most fish oil out there. So even on those, you need 4 a day. So that's kind of what the study was about, was amount. And most people come in and they're taking 1, and the EPA is 180 and the DHA is 120, which is the majority of the fish oil out there.
And we've talked so many times about, those of you that just go to your big box stores and buy it off of the countertop, and they've done stories on national news about all the stuff that's in there that you might not know about, the fillers and everything, and yet everything that y'all have is pharmaceutical grade.
Yes.
And you're getting it says fish oil. It's what you're.
Well, it is third-party tested, and ours is actually a cold distilled method on our omega-3 that you're taking, because it removes all the contaminants. Because when you talk about big fish, some of the really big fish have a lot of contaminants in it.
Yep.
And so it does make a difference on contamination, but ours is distilled to remove the contaminants. And at the same time, it's concentrated for the EPA and DHA content.
Well, I just know that all the supplements, ever since I've been under your, guidance and everything, or tutelage and everything since, about 7, 8 years ago, and everything that I take, I just felt so much better.
Yeah.
I really have.
It does make a difference.
It makes a big difference.
But I get blood work done,
periodically.
Periodically. So, that's one of the important things, that you do need to get blood work and find out what you're lacking in.
Yeah, it's just like checking the oil in your car. I know I say that a lot, but it's the same thing. You check the oil in your car to see if it needs anything. If it doesn't, good. If it does, okay, add some. That kind of thing. So it's just that simple. If you do something, check it and see what you need. If you're taking something.
Omega-3s are one of those things that pretty much most Americans are deficient in omega-3. We do actually have a test, though, if you're interested in testing where is your omega-3 status. There is something called an omega check, and it actually checks omega-3, omega-6, omega-9. So it looks at all your omegas and see how they are in relationship to each other. And over the years, I can say we could probably have never checked anybody's that wasn't on omega-3 that was normal.
And I mean taking pretty big doses of omega-3, not
Right.
just
Exactly.
one or two a day. I've had a bunch of people, and they're taking like even hours, taking like 2 a day. Oh, I just take 2
Still
a day.
ain't enough.
And I had this one lady, she was up in South Carolina, she called, we know her family and so on. She'd called and we did the labs on her. And sure enough, she's taking 2 a day. And she said, oh, mine's gonna be great. I said, well, okay, we'll find out. And sure enough, when it came back, it's like, oh my goodness, you need a lot more. I mean, because her ratios, the 6 to 3s are way off.
The American diet is really strong in omega-6s. All your vegetable oils are omega-6, and omega-3s are very deficient because we don't eat a lot of fatty fish around here. Now, even if people eat fish, some of the fish doesn't have as much of the oil in it, and actually once you fry it, it destroys some of it. So you actually
And we love our fried fish.
around
We
here.
do
That's
like-
what everybody does is fried fish.
No doubt.
No
doubt.
Even some of the ones you bake, like flounder, just aren't as strong in the omega-3
They don't have
oils.
much-
They'll have some.
What are
but
some of the fatty fishes?
Cod,
Salmon.
salmon.
Okay.
Those are the
Actually,
even tuna.
sardines.
And of course, we've talked so many
Sardines.
times about, if you eat salmon, don't get that. It'll say it has to have it on the packet, farm raised.
Right.
Right.
Don't want to do that.
And lately, it's been hard to find the wild caught.
fresh wild
It
caught,
has.
It is. It's been real hard.
So we've seen less of it lately for some reason. But anyway, so that's why the American diet is very, very deficient in omega-3s.
Yeah, really, she brought up a kind of a point that, and I tell people this all the time when I'm talking to them one-on-one, stop using vegetable oils. All right, for one, it's not a vegetable, it's a grain. Corn is a grain, it's not a vegetable. I know it freaks a lot of people out. Oh, that's why I'm eating my vegetables. Nope, that's a grain. And so when you look at that, that's a grain. You don't need those, and they're high in polyunsaturates. The polyunsaturated fats are not necessarily good for us. The monos are better, much better.
And the walnut oil is one of the few oils that have a little bit of omega-3 that you can actually cook with. The problem with omega-3s is a lot of times cooking with them destroy them.
Right.
And
High
so,
temperatures.
the bad thing is, like flax oil, you can't cook with it. You can't cook with, you can't cook with fish oil. That'd be pretty nasty. So there's a lot of the omega-3s you just can't cook with.
Yeah.
So.
All right. 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Those are our phone lines. If you have a question, open line Monday. And we've got a few that were emailed in this past week, so we're going to cover those in just a little bit too. Take a break. We'll be right back. And welcome back. It's our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. And we are talking about anything regarding your health this morning. So if you have any questions, 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Had a question that was emailed in to me. I'm not able to get out in the sun a lot. How can I tell if my vitamin D level is too low?
It's a pretty simple blood test. Really, we do it all the time for people because they're like her or this person.
It's like
her,
$30, $35, something like that?
35, I think.
35, I think, is what it is. Suggested vitamin D. It's on all of our panels.
Yeah.
So I should.
Then how
it's on
important
all
is
the
it to have a
panels.
good vitamin
it's on
D
all
level?
the panels over 160.
When you come to vitamin D, okay, a lot of people think, well, because COVID, they said, oh, take vitamin D, and it does help the immune system immensely. So, okay, it's big for that. The other part of it, though, and I think this is probably even the more important part, and how it actually helps that immune system. Vitamin D, being a steroid hormone, actually helps modulate and helps control over 1,000 of our genes that we know of now. And the research is going on, it's probably more, but at least 1,000 of them depend on vitamin D to actually function correctly. So it's pretty important.
Okay.
I think we have a caller that.
Some kind of direction on a blood panel to do for the caller's daughter. She's passing out a lot.
Well, if somebody is passing out, you definitely got to rule out anemia. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of things you got to rule out. You would want to do at least our expanded panel. That would be a minimum panel to start, and it really depends on her age. If it's her mom calling, maybe she's younger, but maybe not.
You never know.
Yeah, but you never know. So if she is younger, I'd probably start with the expanded panel and then kind of go from there. But then also come in and talk to us, because blood pressure issues can also make you pass out. Blood sugar issues can make you pass out. So you think of anemia, blood sugar, but the blood sugar, all the parameters on the blood sugar are checked on the $160 panel. And it definitely does anemias. It does your B12 and iron, which can affect anemias. So that would be where you start.
That's a starting point.
Yep.
And like I say, if you come in, we'll check that blood pressure.
We'll definitely check the blood
find out,
pressure.
if that's an issue. Hopefully not, but it's possible.
And when you look at the blood pressure, you want to look at both. What you think about in blood pressure is it falling, and so you got to look at where it is sitting, standing, different positions, and see if there's a positional change.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sure, blood pressure will have to do with, I guess if you stand up quickly and you get really dizzy.
Exactly.
Well, like I said, it depends. There's a lot of different, there's actually something called postural orthostatic tachycardic syndrome, which is probably gotten bigger because stress does affect it. And so that's one that we definitely look for.
Okay. I've been having a lot of pain in my joints lately. What can I take to help?
Well, our old friend, there's a lot of stuff. Okay. Even the omega-3 we talked about earlier can help, and we've had a lot of people get good results with that. But one of the biggies, if you're having joint pain, is keep the lubrication in the joints working correctly. And to do that, something with your glucosamines, and we always go back to Perna. We've talked about Perna a lot. It's a shellfish that comes from New Zealand. Only New Zealand has it. Don't ask why. But they have it, and it works great. I first saw it used by a veterinarian, probably close to 40 years ago. And dogs do not lie. If they hurt, they hurt. They don't lie. And I saw what it would do with them. And at that time, there was only like one company that brought it into the United States for humans. And since then, we've got it to a lot of other people.
A lot of veterinarian products actually put one of the foods, my dogs, their little treats that I get them out of New Zealand, it actually comes from New Zealand, has Perna in it. They actually put Perna in just the food so that they actually help their joints at the same time.
Joint supports.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that or even the other food.
And actually, your dogs take Perna.
Yeah, I know.
Your dogs take Perna too. So we have a little chewable for dogs. So there's Perna. Ours is called Perna Max.
Yeah.
And Perna Max is actually your glucosamines, and it has added boswellia, MSM, and Perna itself contains all 9 classes of glucosamine,
That's true.
along with chondroitin and chelated minerals. So that's the one that we kind of go to. But when you're talking about joints, we have something called SPM that is good for pain and inflammation. We have something called Phyto-4, which is also good for inflammation and pain. It has a hops extract called Perluxin that is more fast acting. So you can take it as needed. There is, the curcumins, which is your turmeric. That's good for, and you can do extra MSM. So MSM can do it as well. So there's so many things you can do for joints, and everybody's a little bit different. And depending on, if somebody has gout, that affects the joints, and we have something called uric acid formula. So that's one thing that, we have so many different products for joints.
Yeah, you kind of have to narrow it down to what it might be.
We usually start with Perna-Max, but we'll ask a lot of questions on, when someone comes in to see what the best for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, all right. I've been hearing a lot lately about monkeypox. What exactly is it, and is there anything I can do to keep from catching it?
Number one thing you can do is keep your immune system strong. One thing that we've noticed, COVID thing has kind of died down. You're not hearing as much about it. We're still seeing people get COVID. Matter of fact, a week or two ago, I had a husband and wife over in Louisiana. Boom. They've had it before, and they got it again. So yes, you can get it. There's no doubt about that. So and a lot of people that due to that, it's not in the news as much, they've stopped taking their vitamin D. They stopped taking their zinc. They stopped taking the quercetin. They stopped taking all the stuff that they were taking for their immune system. What's happening? You're letting the immune system down. And this is monkeypox is a virus. It's in the pox family, so it causes pustules and so on, like chickenpox. Matter of fact, it looks a lot like chickenpox.
Well, they don't think it is going to be as contagious. But
hasn't shown
that yet.
Yeah.
But with any virus, nobody knows when the next one's going to pop out.
Right.
With any virus, you want to keep your immune system strong, and everybody's letting their guard down already.
Yeah.
And COVID's still out there.
Yeah.
And we're still seeing people with COVID and still hearing about it, and people are calling. So you need to keep that immune system up.
And it doesn't matter how young or old you are.
No,
No,
it
it
does
doesn't
not.
matter.
And
I
it's
mean,
not.
doesn't-
It's not like, okay, well, this is over, or we can let our immune system go down now. It's important to keep your immune system up all the time, and that's for a lot of
especially
reasons.
the more that we mature.
It's not just viruses.
Yes, especially.
Use that
Well,
mature word there.
People
Yes.
don't think about it. I mean, cancer. It's your immune system is a little compromised, and it kind of takes over. There's a lot of things your immune system does a lot, and so it's important to keep it up. And people don't worry about their immune system until it's they got
Almost
a
too
problem.
late.
Yep, exactly, till they got a problem.
Yeah.
So you just want to keep that immune system strong, and you want to do everything you can to keep it strong.
And I think if they do that, I think the monkeypox will be a non-event.
point.
Yeah, a non-event.
Okay. All right, 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. This is Open Line Monday, so any questions you have regarding health issues or whatever, pick up the phone and give us a call. We'll be back with our final break and this week's special. It's a 2-for-1. Well, kind of. And welcome back. It's our final segment this morning of our Open Line Monday, and this week's special, we actually have 2 specials going on for you.
Yes, the Thyrobuild, and it's kind of got, the Thyrobuild is primarily, if we'll say this, for men that are trying to boost their testosterone. We do have some females that will use it because all their hormones are low, and it's an androgen builder, so it brings up all those hormones. And the other one is Thyrobuild, which is all the various nutrients and everything in one little bitty pill that you need to take to keep that thyroid functioning at maximum function.
Right, on the Thyrobuild, it is something that you can take without having a test
Yeah.
or a medical thyroid problem.
Right.
It just gives you the nutrients that you can make sure you have to help the thyroid. It also boosts your metabolism a little bit. It has your iodine, your tyrosine, your bacopa. So it has all kinds of things in it just to help with the thyroid. The Thyrobuild, like I said, it actually boosts your own production. It is one that helps with, there's one of the main ingredients is maca, one of them. It can actually help all your hormones. It helps with adrenals. It's an endocrine supporter.
Yeah.
So it actually helps the endocrine system. So we do, like I said, we do have mostly men take it, but we do have some females that take it too, because it can increase testosterone in females as well. So that's kind of, and there is one of the ingredients in Thyrobuild that helps with blood sugar control, because that's people that we're seeing with actual low testosterone is people with blood sugar issues. It's one of the reasons why it's rampant in men right now that they have low testosterone, is because so many people are pre-diabetic and diabetic.
I think that's probably one of the, we're in an epidemic of low testosterone. And, people just kind of take it for granted. Well, there's never, well, you have to look around the food supply. Okay, there's a lot of contaminants in the food supply that are questionable, that could actually lower it. Endocrine disruptors, they call them. But then we see so many people, so many of the guys, especially with the low testosterone, that are having that pre-diabetes and diabetes and blood sugar issues, especially high insulin. Even if their A1C looks pretty good, but if their insulin's sky high, and there's some interesting work out there where they found that that the insulin itself can actually interfere with the process. Okay, let's just put it that way. And so it's really important to get the diet straightened out as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we have a caller that's called in with a question. What is a good medication to take for someone with lupus that has inflamed joints? What are the symptoms of COVID-19, and what is orthopox?
Now, okay, that's a lot of questions.
Yeah, a lot of
okay,
stuff
the
going
first
on there,
one,
yeah.
first one for lupus.
Yeah.
Now, with lupus, with being autoimmune, one of the first things we'll do with autoimmune is something called Olivir. A lot of the new research, even in medicine, is going toward looking at viruses, bacteria, funguses affecting any autoimmune diseases. And Olivir is antiviral, antifungal, anti-parasite, so it is one that we always start. Now, also with lupus and inflamed joints, get off of grains, change your diet. You can even be stricter than getting off of grains. You can get off of nightshades, you can get off of the grains, there's actually something called an autoimmune paleo diet, the AIP diet. It is very hard to follow because it is very restrictive.
It's very restrictive.
But it is good. But I always tell people at least get off the grains, but you can go even farther and do the AIP diet, and that's actually really good. Also with lupus and other autoimmune diseases, usually we see high inflammation markers. And on the high inflammation markers, nothing has worked better to lower them than the SPM. So we've used SPM, works wonders when it actually comes to inflammation, even especially with autoimmune diseases. We can actually, that's something we can test, and you can take it, and then we can retest and see kind of what it looks like. So we're seeing really good results at lowering the SED rate and the C-reactive protein when it comes to autoimmune problems.
Right.
Okay. Symptoms of COVID-19, there's a bunch of them. I mean,
man.
that's one, if you don't know the symptoms by now, that's kind of
High fever.
unusual. I mean,
Well,
not always.
not always.
Now, not everybody has fever with COVID-19.
Or if it is, it's very low grade.
Now, you can even just have sinuses. I mean, there's the bad thing with COVID, there's so many different things, and different strands have been different.
Yeah.
People think you have to lose taste and smell. You don't. Some of the new strands have not done that.
Yeah.
There are earlier ones we did see that. So sore throat, sinus problems. I mean, you can have fever, cough. You might not have a cough. So it's really,
Even some gastrointestinal issues.
Gastrointestinal,
That's when it's
diarrhea, nausea.
lately has shown up. Yeah.
Now, if you do lose taste and smell, it's something you got to think about it. So that is one that is, there's just so many symptoms of COVID-19, and it's changing every day with each strand that comes out different. Yep.
All right. What is orthopox?
I don't know.
That's one I haven't really.
I haven't
to be honest
heard
with
about
you,
the
you got me.
orthopox. Yep.
Ortho means bone and joint, basically. I mean, that's when you're
Right,
orthopedic guy.
Yeah, so I don't
guy.
know.
So, and pox is just a virus. So I'm not sure if I really and truly I haven't seen that one. Just dissecting the word,
Right.
kind of get an idea about it. But I haven't seen it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
A couple more questions here. Are there any kind of natural or home remedies for allergies?
Definitely.
A lot.
Definitely. I've taken stuff for allergies myself my whole life. And we have something that's called DN Allergy Support. Works really good for helping with allergies. And then we have something called Allergena. Allergena is a homeopathic, so it's a little bit of what you're allergic to, so it gets all the trees, flowers, and grasses in our area. It's also, we have formulas for mold. That's the same, the Allergena has different things. They have it for like animal allergies, for mold allergies, for tree and flower and grass allergies, so there's different ones for different things. Quercetin, which a lot of people have taken, since COVID has come out, is also known for allergies. It's one of the ingredients that's in the allergy support formula that we have. We also have one that's called Dehist. So we have all kind of different things for allergies. And being in the area that we're in.
Well,
Yeah.
this is the allergy capital of the world.
All year long.
All year long.
Exactly.
And
Don't go away.
When's their allergy season? From January the 1st to December the 31st, right? In there somewhere, and that's really the thing about allergies here.
If you take Mega Red, can you add cod liver oil?
Sure.
Yeah, that's actually, Mega Red is krill, and you can do krill and cod liver oil. You're really not going to, most people are not going to get too much omega-3s unless they take bottles of it. I mean, really.
You have to make a serious attempt to try
Now,
to get
cod
too
liver
much.
oil, if you took a huge amount of it, you can get too much vitamin A and vitamin D, but it takes a giant amount. If you take what's the bottle says, you're never going to get too much. And krill is just, basically it comes from plankton, so it's actually a really absorbable type of omega-3.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the droplet size is
Yeah.
so small on the test.
Right.
And one last quick question. I don't seem to have any energy lately. Even if I get a good night's sleep, I'll wake up feeling like I didn't sleep a wink. What am I lacking?
We hear that, that's probably one of the biggest complaints we have. You've got to do some lab work, because it can be so many different things when you actually have fatigue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Could be
All
anything from thyroid, you name it.
Yep.
So about out of time here. What are we talking about next week?
We're going to talk about how to prepare your health for hurricanes.
Right.
We just hit hurricane season, and what do you need to look at beforehand? Because we were here during Katrina, and sometimes it's too late to think about it afterwards.
Yeah. I think that's the key.
And so it's very
Okay.
important to have things ready for your health.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
That's awesome. All right, so that wraps up this morning's show. Of course, you can go to their Facebook page and find a lot of other great information, or their website at doctorsnutrition.com. Have yourself a wonderful week, and we will see you next Monday morning right here on WLOX CBS.
For more information on highlighting your business and services on Healthy Living South Mississippi, contact Jim Tabor at 896-1313.